But we begin with breaking news from Ottawa. The Green Party won 3 seats in last month's federal election, its most ever. But leader Elizabeth May said today she is stepping down. She'll stay on as an MP, but won't lead the Greens into the next election.
I am at last able to announce something clearly that many of you have suspected, because I've hardly hid the fact that I anticipated that after the 2019 election, I would not be continuing as leader of the Green Party. I want to choose my own time of going. I want to choose a time when we've done better than we've ever done before, with over 1 million votes, doubling our vote in Quebec, with 49 campaigns that got more than 10% of the vote, and some very close ridings where we hope, given that this is a minority parliament, that we'll probably be going to the polls again, maybe 2020, more likely 2021. But I want to make sure that when I leave as leader of the Green Party of Canada, we've got momentum, we've got growth, we've got exciting leadership, and I know we will have all of these. As of today, effective today, I am no longer leader of the Green Party of Canada.
The Green Party will hold a convention next October to choose a new leader. The CBC's Evan Dyer is in Ottawa. He has more on May's decision and what it means for the future of the Green Party.
Well, as she said, Andrew, she's never made any secret of the fact that she was leaning this way. Even before the election, she was approaching other people to offer them the leadership of the party if they were interested. You probably recall that she spoke to Jody Wilson-Raybould about that, and Jody Wilson-Raybould declined. So we knew that she had long desired to move on. She is 65. She's led the party for a long time. But she also spoke today about a specific promise that she made to a family member and said that that was her #1 reason for going. Let's watch it.
When we look at what needs to be done to build for the next election, you can't postpone the decision. It just makes sense. So it was a combination of, yes, I promised Kate for sure I wasn't going to run again, but the question was, when do you then step down? Frankly, the sooner the better.
So she had told her daughter that she wouldn't run again as the leader of the party. That doesn't mean that she won't be running again, and it also doesn't mean that she's stepping down as parliamentary leader. So she will continue to lead that caucus of 3 Green MPs. We saw the other 2 standing there behind her, Paul Manley from BC and Janica Atwin from Fredericton, first Green MP elected in Atlantic Canada. And the interim leader of the party will be now Joanne Roberts, who is a former CBC radio host, actually, who ran for the party in Victoria, although she lives in Halifax. But she made it very clear she sees her role as a placeholder, just an interim leader, while a leadership race is set up and held. And she has no desire to do anything other than keep things as they are now for that new leader. It's really the new leader who will decide the new direction of the Green Party.
And what else did we hear from Elizabeth May, in terms of where the Green Party goes from here? There were also some reflections on the election, what may have gone right or wrong. There was some pretty high hopes from Elizabeth May that they would do much better than those 3 seats.
Yes, I mean, in terms of the popular vote, the Greens did do better than they've ever done before. But of course, the system, the first past the post system, does tend to punish parties that don't break past a certain threshold, and the Greens did fail to break through that threshold. At the same time, she did make some comments. While she said she didn't want to prejudge any potential leadership candidate or position, she did make some comments that gave some idea of where she's leaning. And this has to do with a debate within the party that's being pushed forward by some of its more left-leaning members. And one specific leadership candidate, someone who's been pushing for a leadership race, is the leader of the Quebec Green Party, and Alex Tyrrell, who has criticized the way that the campaign was run, sort of criticizing it from the left, everything from the slogan, which was neither left nor right, forward together. He's argued that it should be a more openly left-wing party. In fact, he's described the party he would like to see as eco-socialist. And that's sort of in contrast to the party that Elizabeth May has tried to lead, which is a more centrist party. It is open to some, let's say, more socialist policies such as pharmacare, but has not explicitly identified itself as a left-wing party. Rather, it's a party for people who are concerned about the environment. So Alex Tyrrell, who emerged from the NDP and who actually left the NDP when Tom Mulcair became its leader, again, somebody who was perhaps seen by some in that party as being not far enough to the left, definitely wants to take it in that direction. Elizabeth May, when asked about his comments, said that they were irrelevant to her and sort of projected a certain amount of annoyance, which gives you some idea of where she may stand on that issue. But no one has clearly emerged yet as a potential leader to represent the other side of that debate, the side that would try to keep the Greens on the more neutral track they've been on historically.
The CBC's Evan Dyer in Ottawa. Conservative Party leader Andrew Scheer has just tweeted about May stepping down. He writes, "Thank you, Elizabeth May, for your many years of service to Canadians as leader of the Green Party, and I wish you well as you continue to serve your constituents in Saanich Gulf Islands." And Jody Wilson-Raybould has tweeted, she says, in part, "I know your passion, determination, and thoughtful advocacy on the environment, true reconciliation with Indigenous peoples, and democratic reform will be ever present." The Greens had hoped for better results in the past election, especially in British Columbia. Later on in the program, we'll have more on Elizabeth May's resignation. I'll speak with a longtime political watcher in Victoria about what this could mean for the Green Party. That's in about half an hour here on CBC News Network. Some senators are forming a new caucus in the Red Chamber. They say they'll be able to better represent regional interests. The CBC's Olivia Stefanovich is in Ottawa with more on who is involved and what they hope to achieve.
Well, Andrew, this new group includes 11 like-minded senators, and they call themselves the Canadian Senators Group. The founder and interim leader is Senator Scott Tannis of Alberta. Some viewers may know him as a conservative, and yes, he is keeping his Conservative Party membership, but he's taking more of an independent role in the Senate going forward as the head of this new caucus. In the West, he will be joined by colleagues such as Doug Black of Alberta, a senator there, Larry Campbell of BC, and on the East Coast, you have senators such as Stephen Green of Nova Scotia, Diane Griffin of PEI, David Richards of New Brunswick, and in central Canada, there's also representation such as Jose Verner of Quebec and Vern White in Ontario, just to name a few, and as well Pamela Wallin in Saskatchewan. So that's just some of the names who are coming forward to join this new caucus. They come from all different political stripes, Andrew, and from different parts of this country. In fact, the only two provinces that don't have any representation in this new group are the provinces of Manitoba and Newfoundland. And Tannis, as I mentioned, he is going to remain a conservative at heart. He says he still remains a staunch supporter of Conservative leader Andrew Scheer, and he's not promising to be nonpartisan, but I got the sense from our conversation today, the conversation I had with Senator Tannis, is that he wasn't happy with the way the Senate is currently functioning. And in particular, the last session of the Senate, he called it difficult. So he took some time, Andrew, over the summer to reflect on how he can maximize his influence. And he got together with some other senators who felt the same way, and they created this new group. And he says the focus going forward will be to make research-oriented decisions on legislation and to also concentrate on representing all the regions of Canada more equally.
So what will this new group be able to do in the Senate?
Well, Andrew, they want to have influence, but they don't want to dominate the Senate. In fact, they put a cap on membership, so they want to see 25 members in total and no more than that. And they're actually encouraging their colleagues to create other groups in the Senate to make the Red Chamber more diverse. The biggest group right now in the Senate is the Independent Senators Group, and that's the group that Diane Griffin from PEI was part of until today. And I had the chance to speak with her about why she decided to make this move, Andrew. And she says that with a smaller group of senators who have similar political ideologies, it will be easier to meet more quickly and address matters of urgent need, such as amendments to legislation or new rules that come up in the Senate, but they will be large enough to do sufficient research going forward.
The CBC's Olivia Stefanovich in Ottawa.